Hi guys, it's nice having all of you guys here again. And today we're going to be talking about coding, right? So every week we have people asking us about certain questions relating to coding as well as digital marketing, and this is such a good opportunity for everyone to actually for me to answer everyone's question. So guys, really excited to have all of you guys here. Um, so if you have any questions at all about coding, feel free to ask. Feel free to ask me what is like, for example, what is Industry 4.0? How does coding actually help me with my business or help me with my career, my career prospect, and my future? Which language should I learn so that I can prepare myself for the future? So these are questions that you should definitely ask me, and I would be very, very willing to answer them. And one more key thing, guys, if you guys are here, remember to share, right? Because if I hit 15 shares, I'll be giving out this share. Look at this, right? If you see that this is a good session for your friends, your family to know more about coding, to know about the potential that it has, and to know how it will impact the future, I urge you to share this video with your friends and family, right? And in the meantime, let me just say that again, if we hit 15 shares, we will be giving out this shirt to one lucky winner. Before that, do feel free to reach out to us and say, right, what do you think coding is about, right? I think coding today has been one of those buzzword that's going around globally. It's not just in Malaysia. It is such a global thing, and people have been talking about it. Like, why do you think people have been talking about it? So in the past, back in those days, for you to start a company at all, you need to have capital. You need to have money. You need to be dealing with hardware. You need to be dealing with physical products. But today, innovation today are powered so much by software that it really changes the whole mix. Today, back then, the millionaires, the billionaires are people who actually, the property tycoons, are big businesses that uses big hardware, big stuff, right? And today, if you talk about the millionaires, the billionaires today, a lot of them are powered by software. And this is how things have changed. And this has changed within these 2 decades, right? 2 decades was enough to create so much opportunity for people to strive in life. And today we're going to touch on some of these topics related to coding. So let's see. The first question that people asked was, okay, so Sarah KP. Hi, Sarah KP, if you're here, and if you're tuning in, how does coding change your career? I think this is such a big question, right? Because very interestingly enough, we know that coding is such a big buzzword out there, but at the same time, a lot of people don't really know how does it really impact you, or how does it really impact us, right? So let's talk about things that are happening today. The fact is this, it is cross industries. Today, industries are talking about automation. Back in those days, banking or whatever, property or medicine or whatnot, we never really talked about tech. But today we start seeing people talking about implementing tech. We start seeing people talking about implementing tech in different industries. So one key thing that we really see is that in the future it is going to be everything is going to be tech driven, right? People are going to find out, how do I use technology to create solutions with things, with manufacturing, with robotics. Robotics, people can say it sounds very tech. With accounting, with law, people are talking about this right now. So yes, learning to code, obviously, it's great, right? But at the same time, I think today, what you can do is think about the industry that you are in, right? Think about the industry that you are in. If you're from law, if you're from medicine, whatever it is, that's fine. Think about, hey, what happens if there is technology? What can I use? How can I use technology to actually change things in this industry? And this is, I think, one of the key things where you can really add value instead of just, doing what people have been doing within the industry for the past 10 years or 20 years, now you have an opportunity to actually dictate how the future of the industry will be like. So Sarah, I hope that answers your question, because tech is definitely impacting different parts of the industries, and people are looking not just for automation. Automating things is one thing, but now people are trying to find, how do I use technology to get real-time data to make real-time decisions? These are the questions that people say. You may or may not be coding in the future, but you need to know how are these things impacting your industries that you are in. And knowing how to code gives you the ability to be able to create a solution in that space that you are in. All right. So for the next question, guys, let's see, what's the next question? Okay, for the second question is by Muhammad Abnul Adib. So Muhammad Abdul Adib asks, is Python a good choice to start with, and what or how should I start? Right? Is Python a good choice to start with, and what and how should I start? There are so many prospects with Python, and I want to move forward towards data analytics. Python is very versatile. It's not to say that all the other programming languages are not versatile. No, it's just every language. How versatile a language is really based on the community behind it, the community that powers it, and the community that uses Python. Fortunately, they are in areas such as AI, machine learning, finance. You talk about trading and everything. They talk about building apps. Python can do all this stuff because the community are using Python for these things. And that is why it is so exciting. By learning Python, you don't just do data science. By learning Python, you unlock a lot of different doors that are out there, right? And data science is just one of it, right? You talk about machine learning, AI, that is just one of it, right? People use Python to also build apps. This is one thing that some of us do that. Personally, I dabbled with a little bit of Python's finance libraries just to play around with getting finance information, and then writing finance finance algorithms, right? On those data, and see what are the information that comes out of it. I mean, it's quite fun. So it's really amazing. And then I've seen people build apps. For example, Instagram actually is powered by Python. So it is very versatile. It is amazing. So for Muhammad Abno, so for you are looking at data science. Right, guys, if you're looking at data science, yes, Python is the way to go. So one key thing to really remember is this. Coding, guys, coding is overarching, right? Coding is like, when we say coding, it's literally, coding is really communicating with the computer. And with coding, when you can communicate with the computer, you can do a lot of things with it. For example, apps, machine learning, AI, data science, so on, so off, building games and so on, so forth. So first thing first, you must understand which discipline you're getting into. For example, if you're getting into data science, when you're getting into the data science discipline, there are two things you need to know. Obviously, one of it, you already say it, right? You want to learn Python, right? Because Python has a lot of mathematics libraries, data science libraries in them. So you want to use Python. But just because you know Python doesn't mean that you miraculously actually understand data analytics. So for the data analytics or data science discipline, learning the language is just being able to communicate with the computer to get things done for you. But for you yourself, you need to make sure that you understand data well. You need to understand, if I use this statistics model, right? What kind of insights do I get out of it, right? For you, Python is just enabling you to get things done a lot faster. But in terms of generating insights, it still comes from you. You need to understand the discipline itself. And so for Python, is it a good choice to start with? So I think Python is definitely really versatile. And I think, for some people, it really depends on you. So if you are a very visual person, right? Suddenly when you start doing Python, you might be very uncomfortable with it, right? So this is what I do see with our students at Next Academy. One of the reasons why they told me is that, oh, with Python, it's a bit hard to remember everything. It's a bit hard to imagine what's happening. So they will always start off with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript first, because to them they see it's like, oh, it's very visual. It's easy for me to keep my interest and continuously work on it, right? And then when they're comfortable with that, then they move on to Python. So this is what I see. So if you are a very visual person, you need to understand your own learning style. For me, learning to code, right, is all about understanding yourself. If you are a very visual person and you have never really coded before, you can always start off with Python. But if you still find that you're struggling there, then what I would suggest is for you to start off with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? This is what I usually recommend people to do because they want to be able to see what's happening straight away. So doing front end, we call it front end coding, would actually help you get started. And when you're comfortable with that, getting into Python will be very easy. But if your learning style, you can think about things in a very abstract, conceptual manner immediately, going straight to Python, it's would help as well. So on how to start, I would say, like, if you are a very visual person, how to start, go start off with front end coding with HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You can go to our website and check it out. Our first course always starts with that. It's not because, for us, we always start with that because we realize that people learn to code. People, when they start off learning to code in that manner with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, they tend to progress really well. So this is, for me, when we structure the course in that manner, for me, as also as an educator, my thoughts are like, I don't just need to give them the knowledge, but I need to hack people's learning as well. How do people learn, and how can I help them learn better? So I think starting with HTML, CSS, JavaScript would be great. But as mentioned, if you want to start straight with Python, there are a lot of free online resources. Just quickly, just Google, free Python classes free Python tutorials online. Give it a try. Give it a try and see if you love it. And if you love it and you can follow it, that's perfect. But if you're struggling and you need some guidance, and sometimes a lot of people need that, feel free to check us out, Next Academy, and we would want to help you walk on this journey together with you and to reach your goals. Okay. Oh, and Abdul, so you actually asked about Django, data analytics, data science. Remember, as mentioned, coding is this overarching thing. Coding literally means talking to the computer, and we are using Python. Like, I'm talking to you in English, right? And with Python, you're talking to the computer with Python. That's it, right? But now that you can talk to a computer with Python, and then you can do a lot of other things. So one of it is data science, one of it is building apps, one of it is different stuff. Data science is very different from Django. Django is to build apps, right? It's web development, is to build apps, so it's very different from data science. It's two completely different disciplines. So for you, right, first thing first, you ask yourself, what discipline do you want to get into? You want to get to data science, you can't just learn the language. There are things that you need to know as well. Like for data related stuff, as mentioned, statistics matters, right? So that is something to keep in mind. I do hope that helps answer your question. Okay, hi Melissa, as well as Erin, Bob, Robin, Lai Heng, Tommy, Lawrence, Chai, and Elaine. If you guys have any questions at all relating to coding, do feel free to reach out to me, and I will answer those questions, because I think we need to educate more people about what is coding, what you can do with it. And sometimes, it sounds really scary or very fluffy. Today, I'm helping you to actually understand it better. Yeah, great, Abnu. I'm glad that you liked it. Hi Lee, TL. So thank you so much for joining us. Let's move on to the next question. The next question is by Raja. Raja says, which position can I enter for my career? Is it possible for me to enter into the coding industry with just a certificate of coding. Very interesting. Okay, so I think so. This is how I actually talk to quite a number of friends, right? And for me, one key thing is I try to understand which phase of life they are in. First thing first, let's just answer the second part. Is it possible to enter the industry with just a certificate of coding? Believe it or not, this has been a very interesting, to me, it has been a very interesting industry because there are so many companies who will come up to me and say, can they code or not? Can they build an app or not? Do they understand data structures well or not? Right? And the key thing, this is a very interesting opportunity because some of them told me, I've seen a lot of graduates out there, but they don't have enough hands-on experience. So I think for us, we play a very different role from universities, right? For us, ours is very practical, very practical. I think it's very complementary, whatever what unis can offer and what Next Academy can offer. So uni offers a lot of concepts, a lot of theoretical concepts, which I think is important as well because you want to know how things starts, right? You want to know how things are like, and so in the future you can innovate as well. But at the same time, for us, Next Academy, we focus on hands-on coding. So we spend 90% of the time just coding, and people are there to build things, to build apps, to build solutions, to explore new technology, to implement new technology. And I think we have been very fortunate to have so many employers, reaching out to us. A lot of them have hired Next Academy graduates before and had a very good experience with them and say that, wow, these guys who are not from IT background and they assimilate well with the company and they are contributing so much in the company. That's great, right? I don't need that. What I care about is your portfolio. I want to see the students' portfolio and see how they contribute. So certification is one thing, but what people care about is beyond certification because a certificate can't tell me if you're good or not. But when I look at your portfolio, when I look at what we call GitHub is where you store all your portfolio of code, right? When I look at your GitHub, I really don't care. I still need to look down. I still need to go down to code and see what you can do with it. So what position can I enter for my career with coding? Oh, guys, it's interesting because there are so many opportunities out there. First thing first, right? I always start off with, there are some, from moving forward, last time we talked about tech jobs, we talked about building apps, right? Become a data scientist, building apps, become a data scientist, do AI machine learning. It's very specialized technologies. We call it technology specialists. But today I'm seeing a shift as well, right? Today, sometimes people are saying like, you know what? I'm looking for accountants who can code. I'm looking for consultants who can code. Right? It's very interesting, right? I'm looking for finance people who can code, right? They're not exactly, sometimes you start seeing, I'm not really looking for, I would love to have a coder, but I would want someone who understands code very well because these are the people, let's just say I'm a finance person, I have finance background and I can code. I am at the best position to impact the industry, to come up with solutions, right? Compared to someone who only know finance. This person can only imagine what sort of automation could happen. Or compared to someone who knows how to code but don't know anything about finance. You bring this person in and you tell that person accounting, hey, credit, debit, the person look at you and say, I don't know what you're saying. So today I'm seeing people who are looking for two different disciplines that can merge and that can come in hand together. So I think this is a very interesting opportunity. That is something that you can also look into. And for people who are mid-career, I have people who are in their late 30s, early 40s asking me, Audrey, you know how the economy is like, things are not looking really well in the job market. If I learn to code, where should I go to? What should I do? Guys, I think this is a very legit question. Some of them just tell me it's very hard for me. They say it's very hard for me to start fresh from scratch, go down all the way to as a fresh software developer, as a fresh grad PA. I have family commitments and so on, and this is a very real conversation, guys. And I had this conversation with quite a number of them, and I said, you know what? I understand that it's very hard for you to change a career all the way to, from don't know what all the way to a software developer. But you are an expert, you are a master in the industry that you are in right now, right? My question is this: if you know technology, are you able to figure out ways that could disrupt the industry? Because I think that is what a lot of there is what a lot of companies are looking for. Their companies are looking for ideas, right? But now you as an expert comes in. You're an expert in the industry you're in. Maybe say oil and gas. You join an oil and gas company and you say, "Hey guys, I have very good knowledge of oil and gas, for example, and I understand coding as well, and I can code as well, right? Um, Let me be able to, come up with a solution where when I marry both oil and gas and tech together, and this can grow the company, in a better way. The hardest people to find are people who understand the industry well and also understand technology well. So if you're in a mid-career change and you're thinking, how can coding help you? I would say, guys, this is where you can leverage on your expertise in the industry, plus your tech, your knowledge in technology. You may or may not be the one to code in the end. It doesn't matter. But very often, a lot of people need that one person who speaks the right lingo to both sides, to both the oil and gas or your management or whatnot, as well as the developers, to be able to work together and to create a sustainable, good solution for the company. So I do hope that helps answer your question, Raja. Let's see if there are more questions coming in. Rachel, hi Rachel. Kevin's here. Great to have you here. Hello, hello. Hi Kenneth. Thank you so much for coming by. So guys, hi Shani. So question number 4. Okay. Okay, Shah, you're asking, so it sounds like you have started learning to code and you're asking, hey, which coding framework should I start with? Okay, the first thing first I'll say is this. Shah, build your foundations. Build your foundation strong, right? Always don't just jump into frameworks, right? Start off with coding foundations. Make sure that make sure that you are very comfortable with vanilla code. Like, for example, if you're learning Python, make sure that you're comfortable with Python without even using frameworks first. Make sure that you're comfortable with, writing algorithms with it, right? And then only get into frameworks. Because I realized the last thing you really want is to call yourself a framework developer, which that happens, right? Oh, I'm very good with this framework. Okay, fine. So if you are so reliant on framework and suddenly I ask you, hey, you know what? I don't want to use, the X framework. I want you to use the Y framework right now. I want you to change a different language altogether. In fact, sometimes some companies do say this. I don't want to use framework at all. What would you do? Right? So I think as a start, Shah, at a very, very big initial start is when you're learning to code, be very comfortable with, we call it, vanilla, like the most raw form, right? Be it you code for front end or back end. For front end, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, the most raw version of it, be comfortable with it. When someone decides to change framework or a framework popularity just drops completely, you still know how to do the raw way of doing things, and that is very important. And even for backend as well, make sure that you're very comfortable with with the most basic stuff. Framework, always think about this. Frameworks, sometimes you got ask, what is this framework? There are many ways to say it, but imagine frameworks is like shortcuts of sorts, lah. It's like shortcuts of sorts that you can follow through instead of doing everything from scratch. Someone actually do this bunch of shortcuts for you, and you just need to follow it, right? But at the same time, what happens if you want to customize certain things, right? Right? Someone else built these shortcuts, but what happens if you want to customize it? You can only have the ability to customize things if you understand it well. If your fundamentals are strong, if you understand the whole entire concept really well. For us, we teach Python, and we teach like Python, and then later on we talk about frameworks. We actually teach something called Flask. why do we teach, I mean, for you, Shah, you will understand this well. Why do we teach Flask instead of we teach Django? Because there are so many frameworks out there. Why don't we teach all the frameworks in the world, right? For us, what's really important is we teach the most, we call it barebone, the barebone ones, because you are forced to actually understand, have a good understanding of the whole, web development environment. Then in the future, you want to try out Flask for Python, Django for Python, or JavaScript, Node.js, or Ruby on Rails. You want to try out all those things? Sure thing, because a lot of concepts are very similar. Okay, so Shah, I hope that answers your question. Next would be Hafiza. Hafiza Hanun asks, what is the most important or crucial part of coding, right? What is the most important or crucial part of coding? So when it comes to coding, as mentioned, coding is communicating with the computer. That is what we meant by coding. And when it comes to coding, there is a few things to think about. Number one is obviously we talk about the language. People try to remember the language. Oh, you know the coding language and that's enough. Really, the language is only like the ABCs, right? It's like memorizing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all your 26 characters. The hard part is not learning the language. The hard part is putting those things together. So when it comes to coding, there are a few things to think about. Number one is the language, and that's the easiest thing. Number two is problem solving skills. What we realize is that, computer won't automatically know how to solve a problem if you yourself don't know how to solve a problem. So that is very crucial for coding. So don't think of computer as this magic, Terminator have this, ability to know everything. If the computer know how to solve the problem for you, we really do not need to code anymore, right? But the thing is this, computers don't know how to solve a problem if yourself don't know how to solve it. So now after you found the solution, right, your problem, you know the problem statement, and then you found your solution, you look at yourself and go like, okay, this is how I would actually solve this problem as a human. Then what you're doing is that you're trying to write a mini version of yourself into the computer, so the computer can imitate the way you solve a problem. You get what I mean? So, the computer, you are writing a solution that literally reflects you, right? And I think the second tough part after problem solving is, how do you break your solution down into small little mini steps? If I say, walk, we human beings are super smart. Walk means walk lah, right? But to a computer will be like, oh, what is walk? Yeah, right leg up, right leg forward, right leg down, left leg up, left leg forward, left leg down. This is basically what computer need to know, right? All the way down to the little steps, right? Before they understand what is walk. So I think for you, Hafiza, for me is, what is very crucial, learning the languages is the easy part, as mentioned. The hard part is always the logical part of things, right? And the logical part of things comes from you. It's not from the language, by the way. It comes from you. It's like playing chess. Now I teach you that, hey, this chess, this horse, right, can walk in a L manner. Yep, I can tell you all that rules. It's just as simple as that. Now the question is, how can you use all that rules to checkmate the other guy on the opposite end? Now that is the hard part. There is a strategy for it. And so I think usually people always have this misconception that, oh, the language is hard. No, the language is easy. People don't struggle at the language. People struggle at the logical part of things. So guys, if one key takeaway, is that when you learn to code, you really need to have problem solving skills and computational thinking skills, something to think about. And for Instagram people, guys, I love you guys. I know I'm looking over here already, but I love you guys as well. Really, if you're here to learn to code, if you want to know more about coding is not really just about the language. The language is the easy part, but the hard part is not. What makes an awesome coder, what makes an outstanding coder, is the computational and the problem solving skills. Okay. Hi, Fendi. Fendi asked a very interesting question. Okay, how to stay motivated in learning to code? Fendi, I understand you, right? I would love to actually know a little bit more. How are you learning to code now? Are you learning straight jumping into Python, or are you learning from front end? So I think that really matters. You see, learning to code, honestly speaking, I actually last time I self-learned before. I started off with Python. Oh my goodness. I started off, I tried memorizing the things. I gave up. I actually gave up after, I think after 1 month of learning to code, and I cannot remember everything. Then later on, I actually joined one of Next Academy's bootcamp. I think what helps me was a few things, right? Friends, peers really helps me, man. Like friends, all of us, huddle together. We literally during that 10 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks, we literally eat, sleep, code. Eat, sleep, code, and we talk about code for every single day. Even weekends, we meet up and we talk about code as well. Hey, what are you coding? How are you doing this? And so on. Peers really did help me. But for you, Fendi, yeah, so guys, if you want to be able to hang out with friends, meet like-minded people who are here to code, who are here to want to build their own startup and stuff like this, do join us, do join Next Academy, and it's happening. The next intake is happening on the 25th of September. But now, for now, how to stay motivated in learning to code. So these are some of the things I realized, and for me, when I'm structuring the curriculum, what I realized is that a lot of people, because coding, there's two parts to it. One is very visual, one is quite conceptual. Um, I will realize if you start straight with being really, really visual, people would be more comfortable. People are more comfortable with starting with something that is very visual, right? Not most. I think 9 out of 10 people are comfortable with starting with something visual. Occasionally, like one person, that one is like jackpot lah. I tell you, that jackpot one person that doesn't happen very often. Yeah, would be interested in who are comfortable with thinking about things conceptually. So Fendi, I think one key thing is this, motivating yourself, understanding your learning style. If you're a very visual person, I would say start with HTML, CSS, JavaScript. That is the way to go, right? That's why our courses start off with that as well. The first thing you start off with, look at websites that you like and set that as a goal that you want to achieve. Like, I want to achieve this particular thing. So that will help you reach your goal, right? And not just that, I think with learning to code, you need to have a purpose. You cannot just learn to code blindly and say, hey, Audrey, yeah, I want to learn to code to, it sounds fun. It sounds interesting. I tell you, people who say that, so far I've seen, if they have no purpose in why they want to code, very often they give up very easily. So I think for you, Fendi, to learn to code, set something in mind as well. For example, even if, you don't understand much, you say, I want to build a game, right? Can be as simple as go on YouTube, right? Look for a very simple HTML, CSS, JavaScript game. Even just follow through that game. Just follow through and just start coding and build. Just follow word for word. Doesn't matter. The whole goal is that to stay motivated, you need to reach something. Start with something easy to reach. For example, a game, building a very simple HTML, CSS, JavaScript game. That is something very easy for you to reach, right? So start off with that. Even if you don't understand all the code in the world, you can follow through the tutorials, reach there, and then later on experiment with things here and there. Those are very, very important things to help you stay motivated. So I do hope that answers you. I mean, that works for me, and that works for a lot of people. Having a goal in mind, having an end in mind, that will help you through learning, because we are not like, we are adults. Adults, we need a goal to help us learn. If there is no goal, we would just be very lost, and we need to answer. Conclusion is we need to understand our learning styles. Okay, for the next question is let me see. Okay, Artira asks, is it possible if someone who don't have any IT background to learn to code and to join Next Academy? Guys, one good thing is that yes, it is possible, right? I mean, you need to love problem solving. I think that is very crucial, right? You need to love problem solving, and you need to not be afraid of failure. So what I realized is that, what stops people from coding? Very often, what I see that stops people from coding is when people just, I think, wait, let me just frame this. People stop coding because they're afraid of failure. When they write the first code and the first code went wrong, right? They just got scared, and I don't know why. I was like that as well. I got scared, and I'm like, oh no, something went wrong. Why didn't I get it correct? Why is it wrong? And I just totally cut off from there. And I think that really stopped me from coding as well, especially the first time when I tried learning to code myself. Then that's where I realized, right, getting the one hit KO, or getting the one hit and bullseye straight away. No, coding is not. Coding is about being open to iteration. So we don't call them failures. We just go, oh, things don't work. It crashed. Fine. Let's figure a way and solve that problem. That's what coding is about, right? Just solving the problem. Solving a problem pops up, something don't work. Okay, what happened? And let's solve it. And we iterate that process, right? We always iterate that process. So don't be afraid of failure. I think learning to code is really not being afraid of failure. And the next thing is with learning to code, right? I'm going to tell you straight. Is being willing to try. I've seen people who come through our doors. I've seen people who have IT background. People from IT background actually come to us to learn to code. And people who are from zero IT background. We have, lawyers, waiters, dropouts even. I think a lot of people have this conception that, oh, that guy, he's from IT background, he's sure very good one. Believe it or not, right? Most of our most stellar students are from non-IT background. And so I think that is one key thing to think about. You don't need to have IT background to be good at it. The fact is this: even people who are going to IT degrees today, do they have IT background? They don't have it also. What? That's why they go into an IT degree. So you don't need to have an IT degree to be good at it. You don't need to see that as someone who's top. In fact, today I tell you some of the most stellar people that I've seen out there who really got a lot of job offers, right? Believe it or not, I was quite shocked myself. Right? He had zero IT background before that. So that's the thing, right? It's all about you. It's all on you. In fact, we also have this guy. What makes him stand out from everyone else is not how, at the start, it's not how amazing or how genius he is. No, he is just like everyone who had no IT background who started learning code. Then what happens is that he loved it so much that he spent a lot more time on it. And today in Singapore, if you guys could look out for him, Jia Qing, in Singapore, he's one of the people who are spearheading anything about AI, right? He loves AI so much, and he is talking about AI, talking about implementing AI, and people do invite him for talks. And he was what? He was from law background. He had zero IT. And was he the best, superb, most genius student? No, he's just like you and me. But one thing he has that a lot of people that I don't find have, one thing he has is that when he has a passion for something, he would really go and explore and check things out and learn about it. And I think for you, set a goal in mind, right? Because when you set a goal in mind, when you come through our program, we will walk together with you through that journey. In fact, we'll hold you accountable as well. We'll ask you, hey, Akira, this is the goal that you want to achieve. Let's figure out how can we achieve it together. Of course, you will be the one who will be building that app or that website in the end. But our goal is to also be able to help you reach there. And when you have a goal in mind, it helps us help you to learn to code. Okay, so next one is by Diana. Before that, let's see. Hi, Yanmei. Thank you so much for joining us. Do ask us any questions. Do ask me any questions if you have anything at all. And we are getting there. Just 4 more shares, guys. 4 more shares, and a lucky winner will get this Eat Sleep Code Repeat t-shirt. Okay, Diana asks, what is your course structure like and how long? And And guys, and 10 weeks is broken down into 3 parts. So sometimes people take all 10 weeks straight away, but sometimes people take part by part, which is totally fine. So the first part is the front end coding with HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I will call this coding fundamentals as well. It really introduces you to a lot of coding concepts. And what it helps is that it helps you understand if you really love coding or not. A lot of people like the idea of coding, right? They love the whole, wow, Mark Zuckerberg built this amazing startup, and so on. They all love that. But when you ask later on, when they try out coding and they go like, oh, you know what? I can't see myself sitting down and, typing code, right? I just have a very different personality. So I think the first course would actually help you explore if you really love to code or not. And then if you love to code, right, the whole course all add up together is 10 weeks long. But I would say for beginners, you can try out the 10 weeks straight away, or sometimes you can take, part 1 first, and then take some time. Sometimes I do recommend, depending, sometimes we do talk to students and we do recommend, hey, you know what, for you, maybe you should, now that you have learned how to code this, take some time off, practice a little bit, and then come back again. We don't want to push people through something that, the thing is this, we always want to try to set our students up for success, right? And for us is that, hey, if we see anything that can increase the probability of, success, I will recommend it to you. Sometimes I'll tell you, hey, you know what? Don't jump straight to the second and the third part of the course immediately. You need to take out some time to practice, right? And be more familiar with it. We will tell you that, and I will tell you that. I'll be very frank with you because I want you to be able to reach this goal, right? The goal is to build an app, to build the thing that you want. So the course is 3 parts. First part is front end with HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Second part is building front end apps with React.js. This is the more advanced version. You definitely need to do the first one before you can do the second one, right? And then the third part is Python web development. So if you're already familiar with the first, then you can jump straight to the third as well. It's no problem. And the third part is 6 weeks long. So it's 2, 2, 6. And if you decided to take, everything at one go, that's 10 weeks. 10 weeks. Coming to class is a whole day thing. It's a full-time thing. So 9 to 6:30. I think usually we say 40 hours per week, but I've seen a lot of students committing about 50 to 60 hours just to code, just have fun coding and building things. And that's what I would recommend for you to do as well. The course is, if you are looking at the beginners, that would be 3,499. I think 3,499, yeah. But if you intend to take the entire course, by the end of the day, if you want to complete the entire course, that one is about 11,500. So guys, it's a full-time course. It's going to be very compact. One of the most compact course. I have students who went through degrees and came up to me and, hey, Audrey, I'm 1.5 years in my uni, and I'm still halfway through the things that I've learned in Next Academy. So I was like, great. So you're cruising through your uni, right? And say, yeah, cruising through my uni. So guys, so Diana, feel free to drop by, and you want to know more about our courses, do come over, and also, meet up with us and let us understand you better. So because then we can recommend the best path for you, right? If you really want to go through, if you really need to go through the entire course, or should you just start with one first and really see if that is something, of your interest. So that is what we are doing right now. Okay. Hi Lanning. Thank you so much for coming. Do share, guys. Do share. Okay. So the next question that I have is 17. Okay. I think I've answered a lot of the questions, but I'm going to cover a few more. Oh, someone asked. Ellen asked, what is Industry 4.0? Okay, and how would that impact us? What is Industry 4.0? Guys, so many people ask what is Industry. Okay, we have been reading about Industry 4.0 for the longest time, but a lot of people still don't know what is it. We know that it's coming, we know that it's important, we know that it's scary, we know that it's, this thing that is moving towards us. But what is it? You can ask people, can you imagine a world of Industry 4.0? Wow, a lot of people couldn't tell me what is it. In the most simplest form, there are a lot of automations. Let's just talk about robots. There are a lot of automations that's happening. Robots just moving from one point to another point and so on and so forth. But right now, with the emergence of data, there's so much data that's happening. Industry 4.0 is about combining both of them to make real-time decisions, but at the same time giving autonomy to individual robots to make decisions. And when individual robots to make decisions, they can also kind of speak to each other, right? So it's very interesting, right? Giving autonomy to individual robots to make decisions through real-time data, and the individual robots can also speak to each other. So for example, hey, I'm a robot, and okay, let's just say we are making a car, right? So the car be very good. Okay, let's just say we do Coca-Cola, okay, Coca-Cola. So the first robot realized that, oh, something's wrong. My capacity will fall down to 50%. Then the first robot will make the decision, okay, capacity fall down 50%, let's slow down the belt, right? And then the first robot will tell the second robot, hey, second robot, something went wrong, okay? You need to also reduce your capacity as well, right? Reduce your capacity down to 50%. And then he will also tell the third robot, hey, third robot, you also need to reduce the capacity down to, to 50%. So this is how like robots can communicate. So it's going to be a very interesting world where the robots will start talking to each other. So so in a way, Industry 4.0 is kind of like that. And how is it impacting us? I think, so with the next generation coming in, a lot of automation will be happening. A lot of things will be automated. But at the same time, if you think about it, is a lot of repetitive. Anything that you find that is repetitive, those are the things that can be automated. Those are the things that will be automated. It will force all of us to think about our role in the society and how we can add more value in our jobs. So if your job is very repetitive, then you think about it. There might be some disruption that may happen there. But if your job is able to add, value, high value, it will force all of us to go for higher value jobs. In a way, is where we dictate, right? We dictate how to automate things. That's one, or something that are a lot more subjective. So, which is why they say creative arts and so on is not something that people can see would be immediately replaceable, because computers don't understand art yet, right? Human beings do. And in light the fact that there will be a lot of automation that's happening, understanding how to code is important, because you may be asked to maintain those systems, or you may be asked to create more of those systems. So those things are some things to happen. Jackson asks, what is the most popular language today? PHP versus Python, which one is better? Should I switch from PHP to Python? Okay. Hi Jackson. So you're thinking about between PHP and Python. So there's so many ways to look at this. Oh my goodness. Let's just talk about a few things, right? So sometimes we ask ourselves, what is important today? For example, people talk about Java. Java is still really popular, by the way. PHP, Java, popular definitely, because there are use cases here. But when we talk about Python, we talk about the future as well, because we are moving towards a lot of things relating to data, machine learning and data, right? So then that is the future that you are looking towards. So PHP versus Python, which one is better? I would say, think about what you want to do with it. Think about, are you trying to react to today's world, or are you looking to working towards the future? So those are the big questions that you should be able to answer. For me, it's this, right? For me, a language is just a medium, right? You're just communicating with the computer. You can use PHP, you can use Python. For me, I always recommend people to start with Python, because it's one of the easiest language to learn. Actually, language don't matter. You need to make sure that you're comfortable with programming. It doesn't matter what language, comfortable with programming, and comfortable with using, comfortable. You need to make sure that you understand well and are comfortable with programming. These are the very key things that you need to be comfortable with. For me, we all use Python because Python is one of the easiest things to learn. If you look at the syntax and everything, it's very simple. So you spend more time learning how to problem solve. You spend more time understanding the whole tech ecosystem, the whole web ecosystem, instead of struggling to think about, oh, why is my syntax so weird? Why I got this curly thing? What's this, all this stuff? So for me, I will always tell people, hey, you know what, start off with an easy language, because language is the one that you want to be able to catch really fast, but how you use the language, that's more important. So just to give an example, some Next Academy graduates, right? I speak, they learn Python. Last time they learned Ruby, and today I'm asking them, hey, what language do you code in? During that 1 or 2 years during the 1 year that they have been working, they actually are exposed. The company say, hey guys, today we are, using Python. Hey, tomorrow I need, you to code something in a different language, JavaScript. I need you to do that. Or then after a few months down the road, I need you to code in a different language, PHP. I need you to do that, right? When your foundations are very strong, you have the ability to switch very, very easily. So for me, it's not about the language. For me, it's making sure that your fundamentals are very strong. For me, I start with Python because it's one of the easiest language to learn. For me, at this age, I'm thinking of how can I learn efficiently. So those are the key things. For me, if I'm going to learn efficiently, I need to make sure that I understand well, my concepts are well. So I'll look for Python, because a lot of things in the future will be using Python, and it's easy to learn. And from there, when my fundamentals are strong, I can go and, self-learn Java, PHP, all the OO language, C++, C#, I can self-learn those things after that by myself, right? So I think that will help you answer. You can reach out to us and ask us a bit more about this. There are a lot of school of thoughts, different people out there would be talking, this is the best language, that is the best language, you should do this because it's most popular. For me, it's, because as a developer, you need to be adaptable. So your goal now is how can you hack your learning and be efficient at learning? That's very simple. Okay, guys, there is also, one big question, how coding can impact the next generation, and that is by Sabiran Gibran. How coding can impact the next generation. I think there is a few ways to look at this. I think one of the key things that I find is, one of the key things. Hi, Haozi. It's great to have you along. Have you here with us? Okay, so how coding can impact the next generation. Let's talk about work, right? In the next 10 years, coding, automation, all this will be very, very substantial. Today, I've been seeing universities and having coding syllabus in their day-to-day, which I think is great. I think the scary part, the next generation, yes, they will be very savvy. They are already very savvy with this whole tech world. I think the one who will be impacted the most are young adults. Today, young adults, the 20-year-olds and the 30-year-olds, because in 10 years' time, they will be, the 20-year-olds will be 30, the 30-year-olds will be 40. And they are neither retired, they are in their mid-career, and when automation happens, they are the one who get affected the most. So I think for the next generation of kids that are coming out, they would actually get to see a very completely different new world where technology is going to be much more embedded in our day-to-day compared to today. But the ones who may not be ready for it, if you have friends, you have family who are in the 20, 30-year-olds, I think they will need to at least know some level of technology, even if they do not intend to, be coding every day, but they need to know technology, because this is an opportunity for them to, to shape the future. And also when the future comes in 10 years time, when automation comes, they are ready for it and they actually understand it. The last thing you want is to be got caught off guard. So Sabiran, I think I hope this question answers you. It's going to be a very exciting, new decade next. The coming decade is going to be very, very exciting. But at the same time, I think the next generation would not be surprised. Like for me, I was not exactly surprised with, iPhones or anything, right? But for the previous generation who the whole big mobile phone, and they get to see through how things, such a big phone that goes until to your little device, for them, they see that change. Sometimes my dad, my mom, using iPhone or their smartphone, they took a bit of time, but they get used to it. But yes, right, they are the ones who, in the future, the 20, 30-year-olds are the ones who would see that transition. And the question is, are they ready for the future or not? So I think that would really help, understand things better. I think the last question is, do I really need to learn to code? Well, I think to it's not just about future proofing, right? It's not about just about getting jobs. It's about looking at opportunities. I think learning to code really brings up a lot of opportunities, because you have the ability to say, I have a tech idea and I can build it, right? I can give a solution. I can give a solution to an individual. I can give a solution to a company, right? And I think learning to code is not about, oh, this future is going to be very scary and I'm going to lose my job. Of course, we can always say that, but I think the bigger thing is that look at it, the future have a lot of opportunities, and by learning to code helps you, give you this chance, give you this opportunity to actually be the one to create that future. And I think that is the mindset that you want to have when you're looking at learning to code, or when you're looking at life. Yeah, that's about it. So guys, thank you so much for your time. I think one last thing, right? If you share, right, guys, I want to give this shirt out. I wonder how many people so far. So you know what? This is the last opportunity for you to share. So why not? I'm going to be closing this soon. So for you, if you have last questions, please feel free to reach out and ask me those questions. If not, right, do share, so that I only need 4 more shares, guys, so that I can give this out. And I'm going to stay here for another 1 minute, 60 seconds. And I'm going to count down from there. So yeah, so if you have any questions at all, do ask, right? Learning to code is for about your future. Learning to code is a lot of things, but the most important thing is that, are you prepared for it? Do you have the right mindset for it? I think those are very crucial things. Oh, there's a question coming in. And someone asked, someone just asked, okay, how's the course like, how is it like, right? It's fun. To me, I think it's fun, right? You meet a lot of like-minded people. And I think that is very important, meeting like-minded people. And these people could, in the future, be the ones who will be your partner. Believe it or not, we actually have a lot of startups being built here. Sushi Read is one of them, right? Future Labs is one of them. Like this, they meet their co-founders here. They meet their tech team over here. They band together, they got together and built their startups. And I think that is really exciting. Because you'll be meeting like-minded people. Occasionally, some investors might be lurking as a student as well. And recently, for example, a group of students came together, built an app for the final pitch event. And just to share, how do you know the size of your muscle? Right? How do you know the size of your muscle? So what they did was that they write an algorithm, and they merge it with some machine learning as well. And they measure your muscle with a credit card, right? And every single time, any point of time you decided to have a good idea of how thick is your muscle, they can measure it from there with just a credit card. When they were sharing this idea with someone, and very interestingly enough, someone came up to them and said, I love your idea. You know what? If you want to bring your idea to the next level, I'm willing to actually invest some money in you, or and also to be willing to introduce you with some of the people in the industry who would love this technology. And that caught them off guard. That they were like, Audrey, this is so exciting, right? Someone said that they're interested in our app. And so these are some of the really interesting things that I've seen from our students. When they're going through the boot camp, with friends, when you meet like-minded friends, it's exciting, right? And then when you build things together with them, that is even more exciting, right? And you build things that you are really passionate about, that brings you up to the next level. I think the point is this: when you realize that you have the ability to create, and at some point becoming or playing God, right, in a way, you realize that you have the power to create so many things. I think that unlocks a lot of opportunity, and it will definitely make you see life in a very different manner. Because right now, you're not a puppet of life, but you can create something that impacts other people's life. Definitely, learning to code has been very exciting for a lot of people. So if you're interested, do reach out to us and ask us more about it, because that will open up a lot of opportunities for you in the future. Okay, so I think oh, we have 12 shares. 3 shares away. I guess it's like kind of like a rollover, right? If this time if we couldn't hit 15, then it's next time. Okay, guys, I think I would want to wrap this up. It's already 8 plus, and it's more than an hour. Thank you so much for spending time with me. It has been very good to be able to talk to you about, what is coding, learning to code, what is this about, how it will impact your jobs. There are a lot of job opportunities out there that requires you to code, like today we're talking about blockchain. Today we're talking about machine learning, AI, so many things. We're talking about so many things. And this is just the start, right? It's just the start, because one innovation will break into many more different types of innovation, and then each innovation will break into a lot more opportunities as well. So I think this is just, I think we have only opened the door, and we're only picking it, like it's kind of like a sneak peek of sorts, right? Like you just start seeing something. The door has not been fully opened. When the door opens up fully, I think it's going to flood this entire world with very, very, just with a lot of opportunities. That's all I can say. With a lot of things for you to explore. The question is, are you ready for it or not? So I think that's pretty much it, guys. It's so sad that we are 3 shares away. 3 shares away, guys. And I'm really glad that you guys stayed with me. Thank you so much for your time. I think that's pretty much it, guys, right? Thank you so much, and yeah, see you next time. Bye.